Hello, this is a response to Reindeer's vid in a way, because Ronaldo's vid in a way, because he was speaking about how the contrast between the Western Cape, where the Democratic Alliance of South Africa is making the Western Cape work, whereas the ANC under Julius Malema and Jacob Zuma he described as being in the Eastern Cape, like the difference between America under the Democratic Alliance and Afghanistan. Now, this brought to mind something I'd already written on my blog before that time, and it was from a response to several comments that were made on actual infrastructure and how the infrastructure of South Africa developed. So for speed, I'll just quickly, quickly read from the blog. Okay, well, the Boers during the 19th century began to spread out across the veldt, and they chose sparse habitation because that decreased the likelihood of disease, and that's why these farmsteads are quite isolated. But let's try and find some ways to help the farmers and to help South Africa in general. Well, first, the vid I did on Boer independence, on the European social model and the US constitution model, that's quite far away at the moment, if there is any movement in South Africa moving towards that. Boer independence would have to have a republic which would have access to the sea. And the first treaties for the Boer republics in the legal sphere must be recognised by the British and European courts. And the farmers who are not rich can form cooperative farms and can buy land to create a continuous area where there's good governance, and so that's kind of like the Western Cape. The rights of farmers to property must be legally upheld in South Africa, and the human rights of South African citizens must be upheld in Hague courts of human rights, both international and European. This is because the Court of Human Rights links up with the British legislature, including the Privy Council of the House of Lords and the British Supreme Court, who are experts on authority on Commonwealth laws and have a position to draw South African legal experts to call on the British experts in law, experts of authority, to decide on outstanding matters of law in South Africa, which the South African legal people can't refuse, such as farmers' property rights. Richer farmers can buy up land or support the cooperatives. The banking industry in the Boer Veldt Republic area must start to issue their own currency and have it recognised by national and international regulators, such as the Bank of International Securities in Switzerland, which is the central bank of central bank. A key factor must be the backing of this by the South African Central Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the European Central Bank. This must ultimately be joined together by the Bank of International Securities, the central bank's central bank, which is in Switzerland. Once the banking industry has done this, they can start to provide a base interest rate, which speculators and investors can achieve a good return on their investments in the Boer Republic area, and the banks must offer to be involved in cooperative farmers groups, like with the Boer farmers, universities and businesses to offer microloans and larger loans for investment and infrastructure. Once this is achieved, the different banking notes with a shared currency value, thus the actual notes would represent the different banks, but the collusion on the actual base rate of the banks within the Boer Republic would act both as a central bank and a cooperative, with 80% of the value of the notes backed by gold, silver, or a basket of goods and services, as well as being 100% insured on bank account holdings. Thus, investors would flood the accounts of banks with deposits, which would serve as a basis for lending to the farmers' cooperatives. The issue of notes of different banknote types would act as, although they were acting as one currency, would create a monetary barrier to any ANC pressure on the South African Central Bank to rein in the Boer Republic banks. A similar thing could be done in the Western Cape, for instance, with the Democratic Alliance there. But the banks within that area would essentially be their own independent national banking system. This would leave the ANC with no option but to accept that they have no economic dominance in the Boer Republic zone or the Western Cape. This sets the table for political negotiation, as the ANC would not take the chance of being undermined by the Central Bank of South Africa. Once autonomy is in place, the banks will then rationalise the banking notes to have symbols of the Boer Republic or the Western Cape in their case. There must be no currency entirely in gold, oil, silver based, or on the other hand, no entirely fiat money that is just simply paper money, paper credit money, like monopoly money. Based rather that there must be a fluctuation in the Boer rand for adaptation and monetary and national security. This situation must be maintained until such a time as there can be a period of détente with the more rational ANC leadership or a democratic government in South Africa comes to power, a more democratic government. However, this must not be a time to rest on the bench. During this time, the legal and infrastructure process must continue, as well as building a system to support those who are made destitute by the ANC of Boer and Afrikaner descent. This will be done through a similar economic wall. A welfare system will be created based on labour unions and cooperative members' support. That's farmers who are members, or in other trades who are members of a cooperative. And support and citizenship will be linked in that way, so that there is no internal Boer divisions in wealth